Building a new community for musicians in New Orleans on this episode. Reclaiming the city park by volunteers working for Relief Spark on this episode. On this episode of Web Tips, we'll introduce you to a great site for disabled travelers. All these stories and more on Travel Television. And now on to our first stop.
Now that there's such a limited amount of people back, you know, at night after dark, you don't see anybody. You know, everybody's locked in their little trailer or they leave the city.
East New Orleans is home to Mr. Fred DePlant and always will be, he tells CTV News. The father of CTV Administrative Manager Diane Williams, he serves as our guide the first day here. He evacuated before the storm. About 6 weeks later, he returned to survey the damage.
In here, it was 54 inches high. I measured it. That was where it settled. 59, it may have gone higher. The refrigerator was, I think, in that room. And all of the beds and mattresses and everything were just every place in the house. Oh, I was shocked, you know. I sort of expected it to be the way it was, but I guess I didn't want to accept it. This is where I spent most of my time. I had a large TV here, and a big chair, and a couch there, and a couch here, and of course the coffee tables and the end tables. But this is where I spent most of my day, looking at television or reading or something like that.
That was before Katrina. When he's not visiting friends, Mr. DePlant is a few steps away from his front door in this small trailer. He says while most of the renovation work is done, he's still weeks away from moving out of the trailer and back into his home.
I've been trying to get my floors done for the past, I guess 5 weeks. And each time it's a delay for one reason or another. You know, I can't get to you, I'm backed up. I'll see you next week, I'll try to get to you next week, you know, that type of thing.
With the exception of a trailer here and there, this Hansborough Street neighborhood has the feel of a deserted community.
What you see is that trailer, this trailer, and that mini storage thing there. Those people are back, but not anybody else on this block that I know of has any intentions of coming back.
But Mr. DePlant is back and says he's here to stay.
I never had any thoughts of not coming back. I always wanted to come back. This is my roots, and I will be here.
My desire is, my father's 80 years old, my desire is to have my father here with us, but Louisiana has been his home. He's a die-hard Louisianan and will not leave. I mean, he has vowed to rebuild. New Orleans is where he's been all his life, and he will not leave. The unity is what we had in our family, which at this point, a year later, our family is still spread across the United States, literally. We're in contact with one another, but we miss the family gatherings. Will that ever happen again? It's hard to say.
It's never going to be the same, but I think I will still enjoy the things that I enjoyed before. I like to fish. I take my little boat out and I go out in the bays and the ponds and I do fishing with my friends. And we enjoy that. All my friends are here. The ones that I have are here. So I'm perfectly content to continue to make New Orleans my home.
With H1N1 on the rise, travelers have more important issues to worry about than just making it through airport security on time. We spoke to Dr. Gary Brunette, the head of CDC's Travelers Health Branch, to find out what travelers can do to stay safe and healthy.
We're providing travelers with some tips that they can follow to keep healthy during this travel season. Firstly, we say that people should only travel when well. Secondly, they should wash their hands often. They should cover their coughs and sneezes, and then we would advise them to get a flu vaccine. A seasonal flu vaccine is recommended for everyone, and those people at certain risk for complications might also want to consider an H1N1 vaccine. There have been no studies that show that there's a special risk of transmission on aircraft, but whenever people come together in a crowded situation, we feel that there's more opportunities for germs to spread amongst people. And so we would advise people not to go into those kind of situations if they're not well. And if they are in crowded situations, maybe washing their hands regularly. So general hygiene is very important. Washing your hands with soap and water. And if that's not available, using a hand gel also works.
Hi, I'm Betsy Brown, and I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And this is the first time that I've been in New Orleans. And I read an article in August after the second anniversary of Katrina, and I was really dismayed to read about how little had been done down here, and thought that was terrible. And so my family and I decided to come down for our holiday break and try to help. So we contacted lots of different organizations, but my 12-year-old daughter, Rebecca, they wouldn't, a lot of the organizations wouldn't have her help because she wasn't old enough. So I finally found Lean on Me through the internet. And so we came down to rebuild houses, paint, and do whatever we can. I found New Orleans to be amazingly in need of people's help still. There's a lot of boarded up buildings, and you can see the devastation. It's everywhere. Now, to be fair, I need to say I've never been here before, so I'm really not sure what it looked like pre-Katrina. But there's still a lot of work to be done, and I do really believe that everybody who has the ability to help should try to come and help. I mean, there's every individual effort is always worth something in my mind. So just like it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to put back the world when bad things happen, I think. So I think it's really important for people who would otherwise go on vacations and be spending their money to do indulgent things that they've probably done many, many times before, play tennis and golf and lie on the beach, and to take a week out of their life to actually do something for somebody else. Many of us are so fortunate, and it's really important to remember and care about people who don't always have the opportunity that we do. So I thought this was a great family vacation for our family for this week, and a real opportunity for our kids to learn a lot too, to really think about others and to have fun doing it. It's a lot of fun.
The Society for Accessible Travel and Hospitality, or SATH, founded in 1976, is an educational nonprofit membership organization whose mission is to raise awareness of the needs of all travelers with disabilities, remove physical and attitudinal barriers to free access, and expand travel opportunities in the United States and abroad. Members include travel professionals, consumers with disabilities, and other individuals and corporations who support the mission. Readers share their specific travel experiences with one another at the travel tips and access information on the site. For example, there is currently a review of a Carnival cruise on the site written by a manager of field operations for the Seeing Eye. The SATH.org calendar of events describes upcoming meetings, conferences, and cruises, and a sponsors page acknowledges organizations for their support in making travel for people with disabilities more accessible. Fun, safe, and exciting travel is no longer limited to the so-called able-bodied, and nowhere is this clearer than on the pages of the SATH website. Visit and explore.
Voluntourism.org is the original source for information on the unique combination of travel and volunteering your time and services. Founded by David Clemens, who coined the term voluntourism, he has been guiding the site for over 7 years. He has helped shape the debate and crystallizes the focus on this important travel niche. David produces a weekly podcast about the industry and is often quoted by mainstream media on the subject. David shares the history of voluntourism.
So voluntourism.org was actually started back in 2000 as an idea. A group of marketing professionals came together, myself, 2 other gentlemen, and we came up with this thought of, basically I had been assigned the task of asking what would be the next big connection between the corporate world and the philanthropic world. What would that look like? So I did some research, and I discovered that the travel industry had really never had a philanthropic issue that it could adopt unilaterally across all sectors of the tourism industry, whether it was the business sector, whether it was the leisure travel sector, whether it was tour operators, whether it was destinations, whatever the case may be. There was never really a sense that something had been truly adopted across all of those sectors. And as I did my research and discovered that, I also began to look at, well, what about the philanthropic world would be unique in terms of a connection with the travel industry? And immediately the thought was, well, volunteering. What destination in the world, regardless of the nature of that destination, would you not be able to volunteer in some capacity? And so as I started framing that and thinking about it and reflecting on it, I brought that to the attention of the gentlemen that were also in the marketing firm where I worked, and they absolutely thought it was the best idea that they had heard. In fact, they started calling some of their colleagues and asking them in the industry, and one guy called back who put together the deal with Pacific Bell at Pac Bell Park in San Francisco. And he said, this is the best idea I've heard in 15 years. Hands down. So we started talking, well, what are you going to call it? What would you make of something like this? So we had this brainstorming session, we kept talking about it all day long, and then finally in the afternoon, we had this situation where I was riding the train north with my colleague, Brian Hawkins, after a long day of working. And I said, you know, I think we're really onto something here. He said, absolutely. In fact, you know what this is? And he looked right at me. He said, this is voluntours. When he said that, tears started streaming down my face. I had completely realized in that instant what this work was going to be about, how it was going to impact the industry, how it was going to make something that would be positive for all the folks that were connecting to travel. And from that point on, we have used the word voluntours and the word voluntourism in everything that we did. So then how did voluntourism.org get started? Well, voluntourism.org did not get started right away. We actually started working with the corporate industry, business travel in particular, and putting together conventions and meetings where folks could actually engage in voluntary service in conjunction with those conventions and meetings. So what would they do? Well, they'd take a half a day. They might do a health clinic in a neighborhood, in an urban neighborhood that actually needed health services. They might do something like building bicycles that would then be donated to a local school for kids that had too far to walk yet didn't have transportation from their parents to actually get there. So those were some of the projects that we started engaging in when it came to corporate groups and voluntourism. Now, why did we keep the capital T? A lot of people ask that question. Well, voluntourism originally, the name itself, there's this very sketchy question of whether it was branded by a woman in Canada who wrote the word in a book that she had published back in 1995, or whether it was first used by the Nevada Board of Tourism. In both instances, neither of them had used the capital T. And in both instances, the way they had used the term was really more geared towards how someone would go and spend a period of time either volunteering without the tourism component at all, or in the case of the Nevada Board of Tourism, it was really about how individuals could engage in volunteering to support the growth of the tourism industry in Nevada. So a very different concept where they were using it. So we decided that we were going to use the capital T because we wanted to demonstrate the power of the balance between connecting voluntary service and tourism properly. So that's where voluntourism with the capital T came from. And I personally have used that since that time for that very reason. I didn't want the tourism element to be lost by a lowercase t. I didn't want voluntourism to be, the volunteer part to be lost by simply being part of this long word that people would ultimately think was just one type of travel. So I really wanted that to be seen.
How much room do y'all have?
It may be a strange-looking sleigh,
Stuffed animals.
but this United Methodist Youth Group bus is packed full of Christmas cheer, headed for a place that sure could use some.
We're just getting everything together and about to get ready to head over there.
Over there is not far, but since Hurricane Katrina came, it's a whole different world.
Just the devastation was unbelievable. I didn't expect to be this bad.
More than 50 United Methodist youth from in and around Mississippi set up a Christmas shopping center of sorts in one of the hardest hit areas.
Some books.
To hand out 10 truckloads of donated toys, books, and basics to those who've lost everything.
We had 9 feet of water in our house, so nobody has nothing.
I really, really appreciate them doing all this for me.
Truly a blessing. It really is.
They've thought this through, right down to the details.
I got some wrapping paper for the people and the campers to wrap their Christmas presents that were given out today.
The teens trek through FEMA trailer parks with bins of the little things hurricane victims need for Christmas.
It's got Christmas decorations,
but probably don't have.
And we just wanted to give you a little bit of Christmas stuff so it'll help you get ready for Christmas.
Thank you.
Wrapping paper and all kind of things, and they're great. It makes you feel like Christmas.
It's a place where joy may be hard to find this Christmas. But on this day, it came by the busload.
Y'all been a God's blessing.
Complete with a bow.
Okay, thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
What a lot of people don't understand is when they come to Orlando, and specifically Disney, that they can actually get beyond the parks and do some other pretty interesting things. We're here today at the Tri-Circle D Ranch, and we're going to go for a trail ride on the horse they call Sparrow. I'm just going to call him Jack because I have a son named Jack, and it's kind of appropriate. And Tracy's going to try to make sure I don't get injured in the process. Here we go. Follow us to the trail. Well, that was fun. And now we're going to check out some other Beyond the Park features here at Disney. So after taking a horseback ride here at Fort Wilderness, maybe you want to come down to the marina and go for a boat ride, which we're going to do right now. Let's get rolling, Mark. Well, we just had a great boat ride, very relaxing out there. And now what we're going to do is check out a little action, maybe some bass fishing right here in the lake with some real experts who can guide you every step of the way. When you think about Disney, you probably don't think about this scene over my shoulder here. You also probably don't envision going horseback riding or boating on a lake or even going bass fishing with a professional guide. But you can do all of that when you get beyond the parks here in Orlando. Think about that the next time you plan an Orlando vacation. For Modern Agent TV, I'm Mark Murphy. Thanks for watching today.
Want to check fares the way the Europeans do? Then check out Momondo.com. Momondo is the brainchild of a group of Danish travel experts who created the site with the motto, "Don't spend it on the flight, splash it on the night." The site's intro page claims that they have created a new class of search tools that permit site searches on multiple airfare search engines. And after checking out the search engine page, you can work at what they describe as sharing experiences. This free-flowing page has interesting locations, hotels, and events that a traveler might want to check out. This also includes information on great deals, popular searches, and how to travel more efficiently. All of this from a European perspective. Much of the information is interesting, but could use some more organization. Yet it all seems to work when you take into account their motto as a traveler's search tool with an attitude. So for a different look at travel, check out Momondo.com. An all-volunteer organization offers on-the-ground support, from delivering food to gutting houses, with the motto, "We are you." We believe one person can make a difference. See how Relief Spark empowers volunteers.
Executive Director and Founder of Relief Spark, which is a nonprofit here in New Orleans. We support a network of other grassroots nonprofits by supplying them with volunteers, marketing, and PR support. The nonprofit we work with is Animal Rescue New Orleans. They were extremely active during the storm, and especially post-Katrina, by rescuing dogs off the street that were abandoned by their families or left behind by their families.
My name is Robin Bolio, and ARNA was started in October of '06, shortly after the storm, when all of the major groups were pulling out of the area. And at that time, we realized thousands of people had not been allowed to return home yet, and we knew there were many animals still on the streets. 50,000 animals were left behind for Katrina.
Greenlight New Orleans is a nonprofit that sends volunteers into people's homes to exchange light bulbs for energy-efficient light bulbs.
My name is Andy Hoffman. I'm from New Orleans, and I'm the Executive Director for Greenlight New Orleans. If you look at a CFL light bulb, a CFL light bulb saves about 75% of electricity. That comes down to about $45 to $50 over the lifetime of the light bulb. That is between 5 to 7 years. They last for 10,000 hours. So if you have the possibility to put 20,000 light bulbs into the community in New Orleans, the savings of electricity is about $1 million.
Another nonprofit that we really like is St. Bernard Community Center. That's operated by IRA. And St. Bernard Community Center is it's like the one-stop shop.
My name is Ira Nabatoff, and I'm from New Hampshire. We're a network resource. We're here for our partner nonprofit and faith-based groups, and we're here for residents trying to help enable them in their return. We run an internet media lab. We have a phone bank of Vonage voice over internet protocol phones. We run our mustard seed distribution, it's non-perishable food, hygiene items, and household supplies. And we do a community meal every Tuesday.
New Orleans is going to be needing help for the next 10 to 15 years to fully recover. New Orleans is a very beautiful city. We offer volunteers an amazing experience, that combination of fusing the nonprofit programs with the rich culture and arts and entertainment of what New Orleans has to offer. We are always looking for additional volunteers and groups to come out and work with us on the ground.